There's Monty.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist
Okay,
Fellowship. I am your apprentice deputy assistant music director. Our music director and our associate music director neither could make it today. So please join me in singing our opening song, "We Shall Be Known for the Company We Keep."
Thank you, choir. And thank you, Deputy Assistant Music Director Dick Beeman. My name is Pastor Isabel Call. It is my joy to welcome you here to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Manhattan. I use she and they pronouns. And yeah, you made it. You melted your way all the way here to Zinedale Road, and we also have some folks here on Zoom. You have perhaps already met our greeter, Kathy Swenson. There she is. And Monty, is Monty on Zoom yet? Yes, and Monty is our Zoom host today. They're especially available to chat and answer questions after the service. And of course, everybody else is too, whether you have been here a long time, whether you're returning after time away, whether you're new this week. If you see a new face, you are empowered to invite them for a cup of tea afterward. Thanks for Doug Walter being our tech lead this morning. Our music director, Jeff, and accompanist, Renee Brown, are on vacation today. So many thanks to Dick and Cosette and other members of the choir for leading us in their stead. Our theme this month is collective freedom. We consider today how the countercultural practice of Sabbath frees us and our communities from the collective compulsion to do more, be more, get more, have more. When we pause, we notice the many facets of enoughness in our lives, and we escape control of those who would have us believe that we aren't worthy of our own lives. We are worthy of our lives and of this very moment. If you have a body or mind that needs something quiet to do with your hands or other senses to get comfortable in this space, and you're here in person, there are fidgets in Kathy's hand. And there's a kid space up here at the front with fidgets, stuffies, coloring pages, and other quiet activities that you're welcome to use at any time throughout the service, whether you're a kid in body or just in spirit. You can use the alternative seating up here if your butts fit in those little chairs. Or sit in the rest of the sanctuary, whatever's comfortable for you and your family. We just ask that you return toys and supplies up to the front, and of course you can take your coloring sheets with you. Later, we'll share any joys, gratitudes, and sorrows that have arisen in our lives this week. If you're here on Zoom, there will be a time later that will invite you to type them into the chat. And if you're here in person, you'll find a box on a seat nearby that has pieces of paper where you can write down these things. And Kathy will pick them up later for me to read aloud. To help us drop into this time together, please silence your phones. They need a Sabbath too. And now I'll invite up Anastasia for our announcements.
Hey, good morning. Hello, my name is Anastasia Stallsworth, and my pronouns are she, her. Starting in September, we will be having our Whole Lives class for grades 7 through 9. Today at 3 p.m. is the parent Q&A session. A number of folks get together on Tuesday afternoons at 3:30 in the narthex for a meditation group. And we'd love to have more folks join us. We sit in silence for 20 minutes and then do short reading, followed by conversation. We don't always have a guaranteed leader, so please check uufm.net/calendar to make sure it's happening before you come. We will be meeting the next 2 weeks, Tuesdays at 3:30. Pastor Izza, DRE, Emily, and members of the RE team have been discussing what the expansion of RE to integrate the full lifespan might look like. We've been exploring the concept of whole church RE and some specific curriculum ideas. From our dialogue, Pastor Izza has put together a survey with information about the ideas for programming that we will or could offer in the coming year. We invite all of you to fill out that so that we can focus our efforts on the programming that best meets your interests and needs. The survey link will be included in the monthly newsletter that comes out in August. And now we'll go into the chalice lighting.
Hello, my name is Katie Lee Smith. I am your member at large elected to the board, and my pronouns are she, her. I will read the words of Samantha Wilson as Anastasia lights the chalice. A call to worship is secretly a call to focus our attention. Choosing to focus our attention is countercultural. Daily, we are called to worship at the altar of many devices, surveillance systems we let take lead over our every waking moment. We are called by headlines set purely on our activation and by tools that gamify our every human connection. We are not called, we are led. We are not led, we are entrapped. Instead, here, we practice being called. We are called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by these ancestors, this wood, this room's particular light, this chalice's particular fire, and these children. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-hearted commitment to share a future together we cannot cancel nor control. In the words of the poet-farmer Wendell Berry, we are called here to do something today that does not compute. Spirit of life, call our collective attention to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. Come, let us worship together. And we'll be doing hymn 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. With one we pledge ourselves to greater service. With love and justice strive to make us free.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Fraser. I'm the Director of Religious Education here at the UUFM, and my pronouns are she and they. So after, we're about to do our time for all ages. After this, any kids present are welcome to come join me in the back in what we call the Jupiter Room, which is at the very end of the hall, for some religious education time. But first, we are going to listen to a little something called Why We Need Sabbath by Randy Woodley. Sabbath is a practice of resting regularly that comes from the ancient Hebrew people. The Jewish tradition takes sundown on Friday to sundown Saturday as a Sabbath, and many Christians consider Sunday to be a similar day of rest. Cherokee descendant and retired professor of faith and culture Randy Woodley tells this story to describe an indigenous perspective on Sabbath. In the old days, all the animals, birds, fish, and plants could talk, and everyone lived together in peace and friendship under the delight of the Creator. But after a while, the humans began to slaughter the animals needlessly, becoming wasteful. The humans no longer thanked the Creator for supplying food, nor did they thank the animals for feeding their families by the giving of their lives. Every traditional Cherokee has been taught that it is considered polite to thank the Creator and also thank the animal when it furnishes its own life so people may eat and sustain their lives for another day. So in order to protect themselves from the evil that had come upon them from the once grateful Cherokee, the animals resolved to hold a council to discuss their common survival. The council was first led by the bears. The great white bear asked, "How did the people kill us?" "With bows and arrows," someone replied. "Then we must make bows and arrows," declared the leader. But soon the bears found They could not shoot straight with their claws, and they needed their claws to dig for grubs and such. So after much debate, the animals decided to bring diseases upon the Cherokee people. The Cherokees began getting sick and dying from these diseases. After many Cherokees died, they pleaded with the animals, "Please, we will become grateful again and kill only that which we will eat." But the animals would not take back the diseases they had created to kill the Cherokees. At the time, the plants were watching all of these things. They watched as the Cherokee children and old people got sick. Then the strong warriors and even the women began to die. The plants decided to hold a council. In the council, they agreed to provide medicine to the Cherokee. Each night, as the Cherokees would sleep, the plants would come to them in their dreams and show them how to use the plants to heal the diseases that the animals had brought upon them. The Cherokees recovered and agreed always to kill only what they absolutely needed. They also agreed to say a prayer of thanks to any animal that they killed and to any plant that would be harvested for food or medicine. The Creator was happy with the Cherokees once again because harmony was restored among all that he created. So not only is the story an example of neighborly cooperation among all creation in order to bring about harmony, writes Dr. Woodley, but it is a story of Sabbath rest. The human beings in the story came to understand that people can cross a line that moves us outside natural Sabbath shalom living and into abuse, into a lifestyle of abuse that leads to destruction. It is because of the abuse of living things that we need practices that call us to stop and think about how we are living. Saying thank you is one such practice. One Cherokee teaching is to pick only every fourth plant when gathering herbs and medicines, leaving the rest for other animals or to go to seed. Do you see how this is like a Sabbath day? Except instead of counting up days in order to know when to take a break, you're counting up plants. How do you stop and think about how you are living? This is an actual question that you can share some responses about if you would like. We'll give you a few moments. Kathy has the mic. If you have something you'd like to share, please raise your hand. Or if you're on Zoom, make sure the Zoom host knows. Give you a few moments to think. I see one hand up in the back corner there, Kathy. Yes, let me repeat the question. How do you stop and think about how you are living?
This is Sarah. My pronouns are she, they. I have fallen into Buddhism, which a lot of the philosophy in Buddhism is detachment from material things. And that is something that I am working on here this past year, is detachment from all the material things as I move into a new chapter in my life.
Thank you, Sarah. Any other thoughts? I can repeat the question one more time, too. How do you stop and think about how you are living? I see Dan's got his hand. There we go.
Well, I'm just thinking about last night. I got up and I put on a bathrobe and went outside and looked at the stars for a while, around 3 o'clock in the morning. And then this morning I went for a long walk, and so I stopped, and at the end, halfway through the walk, I always stop and look around and try to appreciate the world.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah.
And I brought Kathy some flowers.
Aww.
Thank you, Dan.
Do we have any thoughts from Zoom? Anyone on Zoom have anything to share about how they stop to think about how they are living?
We have someone, Catherine Hedge, said, I come here. So,
Gotcha. I come here. I'm assuming that means to UUFM. Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of us too. You got one?
Yeah, I actually make a list.
Yeah.
And I put categories, and I think family, various projects that I'm working on, any volunteer activities, and I think, am I overloading one area more than another to the detriment of another? And that's kind of logical way of doing it, but I do kind of think about that as what am I giving to one area that takes up all my time, a lot of my time, and maybe I'm leaving something out that really should be paid attention to. And then I also think what is taking up space in my brain. Is it fear? What is it that's taking up the most space in my brain at this point?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, sometimes these logic-based tools can help us evaluate things in a way that we can't otherwise. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I think we might be are we wrapping it up? We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to pass it on over to Pastor Izza.
We get to sing. We can sing you to the
That's right.
Jupiter
We're
room.
singing. That's right. Y'all are going to sing me out. And anyone else that wants to join me.
Hearts go with you, go enjoy, our hopes go to learn and grow in wisdom, shine your light on you do, go in love, our hearts go with you, go in love, our hopes go to learn in love and grow in wisdom, shine your light on all you do. I'm going to read an excerpt from this book by the Hebrew Bible scholar Walter Brueggemann. The reality of restlessness in our contemporary society is obvious and epidemic. We're caught up in an endless pursuit of greater security and greater happiness, a pursuit that is always unsatisfied because we've never gotten or done enough yet. The gods of this system are the gods of market ideology that summon to endless desires and needs that are never met, that always require yet greater effort. Such an intrinsic and systemic inadequacy is a recognizable echo of the ancient Hebrew slaves, harassed by many supervisors and taskmasters who kept reminding them of their inadequacy and the inadequacy of their production. The outcome of such endless striving for more is a social arrangement of the safety and happiness of the few at the expense of the many. It's not accidental that the best graphic portrayal of this arrangement is a pyramid, the supreme construction of Pharaoh's system. Those at the top of the pyramid require huge amounts of cheap labor at a parsimonious minimum wage to make such a life possible. Every facet of this restlessness is grounded in and produces anxiety that variously issues in aggression and finally manifests in violence. Sabbath is a practical divestment so that neighborly engagement rather than production and consumption define our lives. We are, liberals and conservatives, much inured to Pharaoh's system. For that reason, the departure into restfulness is both urgent and difficult, for our motors are set to run at a brick-making speed. To cease, even for a time, the anxious striving for more bricks is to find ourselves with a light burden and an easy yoke. It is now, as then, enough to permit dancing and singing into an alternative life. The story of the Hebrew liberation from enslavement in Egypt was written down at roughly the same time as stories from the very front of the Hebrew Bible. Genesis 1, where God creates heaven and earth, light from darkness, plants and animals, including humans, and then on the seventh day rests, is the poetic backdrop for the journey of collective freedom of the Israelites. When Moses says, "Let my people go," he's saying, "Let my people be." We are not human doings placed here in Egypt to make bricks for you. We're human beings. We deserve a day of rest. We are made to be free. While traditionalists attribute the book of Exodus to Moses himself, it's most likely it was written down 1,000 years after the Israelites are said to have been in Egypt. And it's probable they never were in Egypt. But I find truth in this story, just as I find truth in a story of God saying, "Let there be light," and in a story of a council of plant people conspiring to heal us all. And I find the description of Pharaoh exceedingly relatable. Walter Brueggemann's gravelly voice has often rung in my head since I first heard a recording of his lectures. "Make more bricks! Make more bricks!" I've thankfully never been coerced into brick making or any other back-breaking physical labor by another person. But it rings true to my experience of feeling like I should work harder, accomplish more, stop wasting time. I don't know about you, but my worst oppressor lives in my own mind. The Brazilian activist and playwright Augusto Boal calls this the cop in the head. I've been grateful for the past couple of weeks to prepare this service on Sabbath as a healthy counterbalance to the grueling mental and physical effort of moving house. With the deadline of the move-out inspection with my landlord approaching rapidly, it's not so much make more bricks as pack more boxes. So many boxes, so much stuff. Physical therapists, well, I think they would agree, I actually meant psychotherapists, point out that moving is one of the most stressful experiences we go through. Even though we have freely chosen to accumulate everything that's going into our boxes, and even when the move is completely at our own initiative. In addition to the fact that change is always hard, I think there's another reason moving is so stressful. Regular life is busy, and we don't have or give ourselves time and space to finish our projects and thoughts by the end of each day or the end of each week. Without adequate Sabbath practices in our rush, we shove the undone pieces into the corners and under the rugs. And so unprocessed experiences and emotions tumble out into our consciousness when we start going through our belongings. Moving calls in the debt of all the hours we haven't spent calmly sorting through each week's discoveries. And here they all are, all at once. In his article, An Indigenous Theological Perspective on Sabbath, Dr. Randy Woodley shares a friend's thoughts on the Cherokee ceremonial festival of the green corn moon, which occurs when the first curve of the moon appears at the end of summer. Houses are cleaned, but so are lives. Gifts of your extra or excess are given away. If you have more than one of anything, any duplicated item, you would give it away before green corn starts preferably to someone who doesn't have that item. Extra food is also shared with those who need it. Debts are paid, and those who have grudges seek to end them before green corn begins. Weddings are planned, and divorces become final before green corn's first day. We are to prepare our calendars, clear time off to celebrate correctly by planning ahead. We are to prepare our minds, start choosing to do what is right. We are to prepare our hearts, begin shedding ourselves of all that might tempt us to be miserly. We are to prepare our bodies. Medicine is taken, bad habits dropped. We are to prepare our home so our clan may visit and be welcomed. It is solemn now, but the feast is coming. So if I practiced and prepared for the Cherokee Ceremonial Festival of the Green Corn Moon every year, I would bet my move I'm going through right now would be a lot easier. Of course, the point of Sabbath is not to make our lives easier, just as the point of rest is not to make ourselves more productive later. These are just common side effects. Trying to instrumentalize rest or Sabbath is a trap, which is what became clear to me in looking for a story for all ages for today's service. Most of the stories about the importance of rest that Emily and I found are about, they have the same moral. When we take breaks, we're then able to do our best work. In other words, Pharaoh should allow the Israelites a Sabbath in order to get more bricks. But we're not about bricks. Our lives are not about bricks. Life is not about stuff or objects. We're not machines for making objects. We're not objects. And we can't be whole if we're objecting ourselves or others. Wholeness comes from loving ourselves and others, from being fully present, from letting go. Not just letting go of stuff, but letting go of the mental stuff that distracts us from what's truly going on right now in relationship with the beings around us. Maybe you do this by sitting quietly with other folks for 20 minutes in meditation. Maybe you do it by writing out a list, getting clarity, and then letting the list go. There are lots of ways to be in relationship with what's truly going on, but it's challenging to actually do them, to remember to do them. And I think it's particularly challenging for people who identify strongly as Unitarians, strong-minded, strong-willed people who read a lot and think a lot and look for ways the world could be improved and how they can do their part most effectively. The ideas accumulate, and over time, even with excellent organization and documentation, they become as densely packed in our minds as the boxes I've been packing up at my apartment. As with physical stuff, we can't take these ideas with us when we leave our lives. And as with our physical capacities, our mental capacity to review and rearrange our thoughts doesn't always stay till our last days. UUs who lean more Unitarian than Universalist seem to have a particularly difficult time with the prospect of experiencing cognitive impairment or dementia, as if our lives have less value if we're less able to execute complex thought. What if we're not physical or mental slaves with worth calculated based on our ability to remember or think or do? What if we're not slaves whose worth is calculated at all, but rather spiritual beings having human experiences. Experiences that include a range of physical and mental exertions which vary person to person and over lifetime. What if our goal, our purpose, was not to make something of ourselves, but simply to give and receive love? As I look toward my elderhood, anticipating a decline in my own memory, learning, and focus, I wonder if it might feel like freedom from all those mental habits I've been lugging around for decades like boxes of books. And I wonder how I might practice now, taking breaks, not so that I can rest up and be a more productive economic actor, but so that I can go ahead and taste the joy of the freedom that one day in this lifetime, if I'm lucky, will be my baseline. Brueggemann's book is titled Sabbath as Resistance. But, he writes, Sabbath is not only resistance, it is alternative. It is an alternative to the demanding, chattering, pervasive presence of advertising. The alternative on offer is the awareness and practice of the claim that we are situated on the receiving end of the gifts of God. To be so situated is a staggering option because we're so accustomed to being on the initiating end of all things. We neither expect nor even want a gift to be given. So inured are we to accomplishing and achieving and possessing. Sabbath, he says, summons us to intent and conduct that defies the most elemental requirements of a commodity-propelled society that specializes in control and entertainment, bread and circuses, along with anxiety and violence. As Unitarian Universalists, we are creating a connection-propelled society that specializes in consent and engagement, potlucks and drag shows, along with peace. Our Sabbath practices do not follow guidelines set out in Jewish religious law, or in fact, any guidelines. They're individual to each of us. Whether your Sabbath falls on a full moon, or a green corn moon, or at 3 a.m. under the stars, whether you are resisting ableism or workaholism, or ingratitude or racism or restlessness, or harassment by taskmasters or transphobia or fear of death, know that your time of rest is blessed. And it's not only resistance, it is alternative. We are setting aside the bricks of empire and building a world of our dreams, one breath at a time.
Hello. That was wonderful. Thank you, Pastor Isabel. Um, Hello, my name is Monty, and my pronouns are he, she. I invite you into the spirit of generosity. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we can contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. Our gifts carry us ever closer to our vision of being a vibrant, inclusive congregation, widely known as a safe haven and force for social justice. Throughout July, we share our gifts with our Helping Hands organization, DRUM, Diverse Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries, the oldest and largest UU People of Color ministry and anti-racist community organization. Money placed in envelopes in the offering basket will go to DRUM. Unmarked donations will go to the UUFM General Fund to support our mission. Many of us donate online to the fellowship, the Helping Hands organization, and the Blessing Box at uufm.net/donate or with the QR code on your order of the service.
So when the basket comes to you, you may add any written gratitudes, joys, and sorrows. And even if you're not putting anything in the basket today, you can pause while holding it as a ritual of thanks for the generosity of our world. And if you're on Zoom, now's the time to type your gratitudes, joys, and sorrows into the chat for Monty to read later. And you can turn on your camera if you want to be seen in the sanctuary. Let's move now into generous presence.
Down in Louisiana, there's a storm coming through. I have seen this storm before, and my mama's seen it too. Clouds that cover all the world keep brewing on, so you can make an extra dollar and be somebody's fool. So you go into the room where the hammer goes down, and you change the lights to suit your gain, and you sway the odds to make your name. Take your umbrella and you throw it away, and bathe all your children in poison rain. Over there in Memphis, that wind is blowing around. They're watching and warning for that thunderous sound. Tennessee has surely seen the lightning does abound, 'cause they know the room and they felt the weight of that hammer going down. Change the lights to suit your game, and you sway the odds to make your name. Take your umbrella and you throw it away, and bathe all your children in poison rain. See the people rising in their streets and halls and homes, marching through the vitriol, soaked to the bone. With a chorus and a burning flag, we keep on keeping on. 'Cause you can try to take our voices, but you will never take our song. Change the lights, suit your gain, and you sway the odds to make your name. Take your umbrella and you throw it away, bathe all your children in poison rain.
We've come to the time in our service when we share our burdens and amplify our celebrations. So in a few minutes, after we've heard gratitudes and joys and sorrows that have been written down, there'll be a time to come forward and drop stones in the water for anything that remains silently in your heart. So please take a few breaths and thank your body for bringing you to this moment as I pour some water to connect us to those who've come before.
It's my hope that in these hard times there will always be singing, that there will always be singing in these hard times. I'm also hoping for laughing and dancing. We're going to sing that now. So we're going to sing, in these hard times there will always be singing, there will always be singing in these hard times twice, and then again with laughing instead of singing, and then dancing. In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing in these hard times. In these hard times, there will always be singing, always be singing in these hard times. Laughing. In these hard times, there will always be laughing, always be laughing in these hard times. In these hard times, there will always be laughing, always be laughing in these hard times. Dancing. In these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing in these hard times. In these hard times, there will always be dancing, always be dancing in these hard times.
Our closing words are by John O'Donohue. And Sylvia, will you extinguish our chalice while I read? May you awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. May you have joy and peace, dancing and singing and laughing in the temple of your senses. May you respond to the call of your gift and find the courage to follow its path. May warmth of heart keep your presence aflame and anxiety never linger about you. May your outer dignity mirror an inner dignity of soul. May you take time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention. May you experience each day as a sacred gift, woven around the heart of wonder. And now we will sing as we leave this friendly place.